Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to Making Home with Grammy. Today, I have prepared a special story for you. I wrote this story, The Christmas That Changed Everything, for all my family members because it was an important time for me as a young child. And I asked Elspeth Young to do the illustrations. Now, today in our story, you're going to see some illustrations that are beautiful. Those are Elspeth's. The Christmas That Changed Everything. Snow is softly falling on the cabin. Stars are twinkling over the mountain. It has been a perfect Christmas day. All the presents have been opened. All the carols have been sung. All the Christmas feast is cleared away. All the lights are dimmed, and the embers of the Yule log crackle and flicker in the darkness. All the grown-ups are sitting around the table, retelling all the old stories, laughing and eating another piece of pie. All the little cousins lie fast asleep across endless beds, bunks, sofas, and cribs. All that is except for Molly Joe, who cannot go to sleep. Molly Joe, whispered Grammy, let me tell you a story of a Christmas long, long ago. I think it will help you sleep. When I was just your age, my family and I lived in a teeny tiny house that looked just like this to me. My daddy was a telephone repairman. In terrible blizzards of snow, sleet, and driving rain, he would climb up telephone poles to fix the wires so that someone could call the doctor or an ambulance. It was terribly dangerous, and he was my hero. My mommy was the general of the kitchen. She stirred big pots with her favorite wooden spoon and filled our tiny house with the most delicious smells. Daddy always said that she made the best peasant food: ham and bean soup, hearty stews with homemade bread, and cookies, hard and soft, mostly hard. I was the oldest and always in charge, at least most of the time. Coralie was my little sister, my pretended twin, and my lookout when I was doing something that I shouldn't. Little Kenny wasn't good for much of anything yet. Before he was born, Daddy asked Coralie and me if we would like a baby brother or a TV. We said, a TV! But we got Kenny anyway. Our dog Butch only had one eye. He'd been in a fight with a cat when he was a puppy, and he had lost his eye. He hated cats, and so did I. My neighborhood was a magic, magic place. Far down Avenue left the lighted streets of the city behind, crossed the small bridge, and then meandered slowly back and forth through tall cottonwood trees and old apple orchards. They surrounded my little house. There were pioneer houses, new houses, tree houses, and even some haunted houses. There were fields, irrigation ditches, secret paths, barns, dogs, horses, and lots of old parents to help the new ones. Summer was splendid. Each hot day melted like butter into a delicious summer evening. After dinner, children spilled out of their houses to play "No Bears Are Out Tonight," kick the can, and Red Rover, hide and seek until the mothers came out and called their children home. Fall was time for school and Halloween. I loved Halloween. But winter was the best because of the snow and because of Christmas. Christmas changed everything that came near it. Sparkling Christmas trees stood in the front window of every home. Wreaths hung on all the doors, Strands of colored lights framed each home during the long winter nights. There was at least one snowman in front of every home, and sometimes a whole family of them. At night, from my window, I could see snowmen standing guard over their dark and silent fields of snow. If I opened our front door just a crack, I could smell the smoke from all of the neighborhood fireplaces on the evening air. Even though it was bitterly cold outside, I was sure it was warm and cozy inside every home. At Oakwood Elementary School, my first grade classroom was filled with handmade decorations. We made a gigantic paper chain, the longest ever made in the history of man. It draped all around the whole room. We made construction paper snowflakes and filled all the windows. We wrote letters to Santa and covered the entire classroom door with them, front and back. Every day after lunch, my class gathered around the old black piano and sang one of my favorite Christmas carols. Jolly old St. Nicholas, lean your ear this way. Don't you tell a single soul what I'm going to say. On the last day of school before Christmas, we made cards for our parents, ate cupcakes, and divided up the Christmas decorations. Teachers said our parents would be thrilled with the additional decorations. I knew she was right. They really were exquisite. As my friends and I walked home that day, snow fell silently and all was still, except for the occasional splashing of a passing car. Our arms were full of decorations and cards, while our thoughts were full of Christmas dreams and wishes. Those wishes bubbled up inside of us like the bubble lights on our Christmas trees. Tommy wanted a new baseball mitt. Linda wanted a pair of skates. Mickey wanted a big red fire engine with a long ladder and a new sled. But there was only one thing that I wanted, only one thing I had asked for. Tiny Tears came in a beautiful pink box. She had thick, dark, curly hair that you could wash. She was dressed in a small pink jacket and diaper. Her eyes closed slowly as you rocked her. She came with a bottle, and when you fed her, she cried real tears and wet her diaper. She was just like a real baby, and I wanted her so very much. Merry Christmas, my friends and I shouted to each other as we parted. I could smell newly baked cookies even before I got to my front door. I dropped my Christmas load onto the floor and rushed into the kitchen to have a bite. With a half-eaten cookie in my hand, I called, "Mom!" But she didn't answer back. I quietly stepped into my parents' bedroom. There were snippets of fabric all over the floor next to Mama's big sewing machine and pieces of wrapping paper on the floor. I knew I wasn't supposed to be in my mother's bedroom, especially this close to Christmas. As I turned to leave, I saw something on the floor of the closet that stopped my breath. It was a doll. It was an old, dirty, beat-up, naked Tiny Tears. Somewhere deep inside of me, I knew it was my Christmas doll. And I was horrified. As I stared at that ugly doll, my head filled with questions. Why was I getting an old doll? A doll with dirt in her hair. A used doll. A doll with no pink box or bottle. A doll with missing eyelashes, scuffed up cheeks, and no clothes, not even a diaper. I was stunned. We must be poor. I didn't know we were poor. As these thoughts raced through my head, I heard our old car pull up into the gravel drive. I stepped out of the bedroom into the kitchen and forced a smile on my face. As my family came through the back door, Daddy laughed. "Well, Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Are you excited? I wasn't. We're going to spend all day tomorrow wrapping presents and baking more cookies, said Mommy. It will be the best Christmas ever. I knew it wouldn't be. How could Mommy and Daddy be so happy when we were so poor? Now that I thought about it, we had the smallest house in the neighborhood. We had the oldest car. Our clothes were always hand-me-downs. And our dog only had one eye. As I laid in bed that night, tears slowly trickled down onto my pillow. All my Christmas wishes were not going to come true. That ugly, dirty doll haunted my dreams. The very next day was Christmas Eve. Mommy made raisin-filled Christmas cookies, my favorite. They completely covered our little kitchen table. Daddy laughed and said, "There's not so much as an inch left to eat on." We all laughed, but just then into my mind came the image of that doll, and I couldn't laugh anymore. Daddy and I went outside and built the tallest snowman in the universe. We even needed a ladder to put his hat on. Mommy brought out mugs of hot chocolate. We stirred them with a candy cane, and then we ate the candy cane. When the Christmas Eve stars began to twinkle, we stomped the snow off our boots and sang our way into the house. Jolly old St. Nicholas, lean your ear this way. Daddy's voice shouted over the top of everyone else's. Christmas Eve is here right now. Now, you dear old man, whisper what you'll bring to me. Tell me if you can. I stopped. I knew that dear old man was not going to be bringing me what I wished for. In my mind, I saw the doll on the floor of the closet again, and I shook my head to get rid of the vision. The lights from our tree filled our little living room with a soft glow. We didn't have a fireplace where we could hang our stockings, but Daddy said it didn't matter and that we should choose one of his longest working stockings and place it under the tree. So we did. As Daddy tucked me in that night, he said, "I hope you have the best Christmas ever." As I laid in bed, I knew something had changed. The old idea of what Christmas should be was broken inside of me. There was an aching in my chest, an idea both beautiful and important was growing inside of me, pushing its way into my heart and mind. It was so much bigger than a doll. It was about Daddy, Mommy, Coralie, and Kenny, our little house, and everything warm and happy inside. I knew Daddy and Mommy wanted to give me the doll in the pretty pink box, but they couldn't. I knew it made them sad, and I never wanted them to be sad. The ache in my heart was now in my throat. I loved my parents. I wanted them to have the best Christmas ever, but I had nothing to wrap and put under the tree. I made a plan. I would be brave. I would be grateful. I would be happy for whatever was under the Christmas tree, no matter what. The next morning, I awoke to the sound of Daddy's voice. "Rise and shine! It's Christmas time," he bellowed. I slid over the side of the top bunk and landed momentarily on Coralie. Daddy picked Kenny up out of his crib and steadied him on the floor. "Let's go see what's under the tree," Daddy chuckled. Coralie and Kenny squealed as they ran into the living room. I steeled myself against the disappointment I knew was coming. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with all the courage and love that I had. Under the glowing boughs of our Christmas tree lay a doll, a beautiful, clean, and shiny Tiny Tears doll. She was wearing a beautiful white lacy nightgown. I knew it was the same doll that I'd seen in the closet because she was still missing her eyelashes, but now her hair was clean and curled around her little face. Her cheeks were rosy again. There was a little wooden bed painted pink, and in there were tiny dresses, overalls, shirts, jackets, and pants. She even had a soft flannel quilt to keep her warm. And a bottle. She had a bottle. The breath I had been holding went right out of me. I dropped to my knees and took her in my arms. She was the most beautiful doll in the whole wide world. Someone had lovingly worked magic. She was better than the doll in the pink box. She had clothes and a bed and a bottle, and it was all just for me. I looked up through my tears at Mommy and Daddy. They smiled back. That beautiful ache was in my heart again. I wrapped the quilt around my new little baby doll, climbed up next to my mommy, and snuggled up into her arms. That Christmas changed everything for me. As Grammy finished her story, Molly Jo smiled and slipped into sleep. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm crazy about you.